If you control attention, you control belief, and America's attention is for sale. If Americans ever stopped fighting each other, politicians wouldn't have jobs. America once believed it was the land of the free. Now, it's the land of the loud. Everyone is shouting, no one is listening, and underneath the noise, something else grows. Dogma, manufactured belief, ideas we didn't choose, but ideas that chose us. We are the first civilization in history to drown in its own entertainment. Every hour a new distraction, every minute a new trending outrage, every second a new dopamine hit. But the distractions aren't accidental, they're engineered.
The sun sets slow on a worn-out town. Church bells echo their solemn sound.
When the public is entertained, it isn't paying attention. And in America, attention is the most valuable currency. Dogma used to come from religion. Today, it comes from everywhere. Politicians, celebrities, influencers, corporations, even algorithms. Belief is no longer discovered, it's delivered. TikTok influencers describing politics they barely understand. News hosts acting like sports commentators. Online tribes forming identities around trends, labels, hashtags. Modern dogma doesn't need logic, it only needs loyalty. In America, politics became a sport. 2 teams, 1 trophy, 0 solutions. Instead of solving problems, politicians perform. Divide the public and you control them. Unite them and you lose your audience. Religion once shaped the American soul. Then it became a business. Some preach hope, others preach fear, many preach politics. But underneath it all, people aren't searching for salvation. They're searching for certainty. In a world full of chaos, Hollywood doesn't just make movies, it manufactures myths. Heroes, villains, morality tales, simple stories for a complicated world. And Americans, hungry for identity, consume them like gospel. When reality is too boring, Hollywood writes a new one, and America follows it. Rome had gladiators, America has influencers, and football. Pop culture and sports do what politics can't. Unite us, just long enough to distract us. These are the distractions that keep America from noticing the world burning behind them. The internet was built to connect humanity. Instead, it fractured it. Algorithms amplify anger, bots amplify division, deepfakes amplify confusion. When truth becomes optional, dogma becomes mandatory. Liberals believe they're saving the world. Conservatives believe they're defending it. Both believe they're the hero. Both think the other is the villain. Neither questions the script. When identity becomes political, politics becomes spiritual. While America fights itself, someone else quietly collects the power. Corporations, billionaires, media conglomerates. They don't need your loyalty, they only need your attention. And so America becomes the Ouroboros, a nation eating its own tail while giants feast. Dogma wins only when people stop thinking. But dogma dies when people start listening. America doesn't need to agree, it needs to understand. The truth is simple, we're more alike than the voices dividing us. And maybe, just maybe, America hasn't fallen into dogma, maybe it's finally waking up from it. Every movement believes they're the hero of their own story, but sometimes, the hero burns down their own village. Some Antifa groups claim they are fighting fascism, fighting oppression, fighting for justice. But in the smoke, the question becomes, are they fighting for the community or destroying it? Good intentions can turn into dogma. Dogma can turn into rage. And rage doesn't check zip codes. In 2020, BLM swept the world. A movement born from what we thought was injustice, an outrage according to the media. And Americans donated hundreds of millions of dollars, believing they were funding change. But as investigations unfolded, questions followed. Where did the money go? Who benefited? And who was left behind? When activism becomes industry, transparency becomes optional. Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi disappeared into their new mansions, and so did the money that innocent Americans donated, creating one of the biggest shams in US history. Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi admitted to using donations to purchase a $6 million Los Angeles mansion and used it for personal parties. In America, scandal isn't a bug in the system, it is the system. A congressman rising in influence, brought down by his own impulses. For weeks, the nation watched the circus. A former Secretary of State investigated for mishandling classified information. Some called it corruption, some called it overblown, but everyone had a dogma to defend. Corruption doesn't wear a colour, it wears a suit. The truth is complicated. The internet prefers a simpler version. Every side cherry-picks the scandals that validate their beliefs, while ignoring the ones that don't. And in this chaos, real issues drown in a sea of half-truths, exaggerations and weaponized narratives. One scandal becomes a rallying cry, another becomes a cover-up. It all depends on which team you play for. But here's the part America doesn't like to admit. Every tribe has a blind spot. Every tribe has a villain. Every tribe has a savior. And when everyone believes they're saving America, no one stops to ask if they're destroying it. Movements rise, movements fall, some win elections, some win book deals. But the real winner is the system that sells outrage to the highest bidder. Left, right, activist, politician, billionaire, influencer. Every group believes they're fighting for truth. But Dogma doesn't care about truth. Dogma cares about loyalty. And loyalty, once blind, can burn an entire country to ash. While Americans argue about tweets, someone else is writing laws. While the left battles the right, someone else is counting money. And while citizens burn their cities in the name of justice, someone else buys them for pennies on the dollar. Lobbyists spend billions every election cycle, not to represent the people, but to shape the country in the image of their clients. Lobbyists write bills, politicians copy-paste them, then call it leadership. For decades, pharmaceutical companies funded the very doctors who prescribed their products. And when the addiction spread, the same companies sold the antidotes. In America, suffering's profitable, and profit is the only doctrine that never loses faith. America debates red versus blue, but the real power is held by blue checks and blue screens. Tech companies know what you love, what you fear, what you crave, and who you hate. And with that knowledge, they can sell you anything. A product, a belief, a worldview, even a political candidate. In America, war isn't a tragedy, it's an industry. Every missile fired is a dividend paid, every conflict extended is a contract renewed. Pause for impact. Dogma convinces citizens who the enemy is. Profit decides when the war ends. Politicians don't just pass laws as they trade them. Inside information is illegal, unless you're the one making the rules. In modern America, every crisis is a payday. Politicians preach revolution, but what they really want is your recurring monthly donation. The media doesn't tell you what to think, they tell you who to hate. When truth threatens ratings, it gets replaced with storylines, and storylines become dogma. This isn't a conspiracy with a mastermind at the top. This is worse. It's a system with no captain, no conscience, and no brakes. A machine fed by outrage, money, and blind loyalty. In America, power isn't stolen, it's surrendered. Not by force, by distraction. And so while the people fight each other, power grows quietly in the shadows. But Dogma has a weakness, a fatal flaw. It only works on people who don't question it. Before you turn off this screen, ask yourself something you may have never asked before. Do you actually know how to think for yourself? Or are you just repeating someone else's script? Are your beliefs your own? Or are they prepackaged and delivered to you by people who profit from your obedience? Are you thinking or reacting? Are you questioning or consuming? Every argument you've had, every opinion you defend, is it rooted in truth? Or are you causing more harm than good to a country you say you love? Who taught you how to hate? Who taught you who the enemy is? Who taught you what side you must pick? Have you ever stopped to ask who benefits from your outrage? Modern America has mastered the art of controlling the mind without ever touching the body. Through fear, through identity, through distraction, through dogma. If you truly want to save this country, start by saving your own ability to think. Not how you were told to, not how your party demands, not how your algorithm programs you, but how a free human being was meant to. Think for yourself before someone else does it for you. Thank you for watching part 1 of Faith and Fury, America's Dogma Dilemma, a 3-part series. In the second part of the series, we will touch on media, religion, trust and outrage, See you on the next one. Thanks for watching.